What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video on the channel today. Now today, boys, we have a very important video because what we're going to be doing is covering our custom tactics that we've been using for the start of FIFA 21 on the Kyren Road to Glory. On our Road to Glory this year, we've played 2 weekend leagues so far, and so far we have finished 28-2, and as you guys will see down the bottom here, 27-3. So that means we have 2 Elite 1 finishes to start off the FIFA 21 year, and because of that, a lot of the boys on the Twitch channel have been saying, yo Kyren, can you make sure to drop a custom tactics video? We need to know what your custom tactics are. What are you playing in game? So that's why this video is here today. And if you do manage to find it helpful, make sure you drop a thumbs up to let me know that you did. And maybe consider subscribing to the channel. You never know what sort of other content you might find on here. But anyway, boys, before we get into any custom tactics and all that sort of stuff, I do want to state before... I think there are 2 important things to say. The first one is that I think that custom tactics are very, very useful, but I do think that is probably equally or more important to have your gameplay mechanics and the FIFA fundamentals down in the first place. When it comes to defending, you need to know when to dive into a tackle, when to defend properly, what space to cover, what space to press. In the midfield, it's very important to know when to hold the ball up, when to run down a line, when to play a pass into space and all that sort of stuff, and make sure that you're playing the right passes. And of course, in attack, it's very important to know when to attack a space and in which specific angles, what shot types should you do in order to score what goals. I think having those FIFA fundamentals are very, very important. But that being said, custom tactics can definitely help you and improve your gameplay. So it's kind of one of those things where you have to improve your FIFA fundamentals over time, and you also need to try and find the custom tactics that fit you. And that leads us straight into our second point, that is that these custom tactics may not be for you. These are what I run, and they fit my game style and my gameplay. That being said, guys, for you guys, it might be a completely different set of custom tactics that work well for you. So what I would recommend is take what I say into consideration today, and also go and research, go and try out different custom tactics, use different stuff from different people, try some stuff out, and see if they work well enough for you, because they may well work for me, but that doesn't mean that they work for you in the way that you play. So I think it is very important to find a custom tactics set that that complements your gameplay very, very well. But that being said, boys, let's get straight into it and show you guys what we've been running. So this is what we've had for our second weekend league. The first weekend league, I'll kind of put a screenshot of the team up here. We have Bobby Firmino at cam, and basically halfway through that weekend league, we actually managed to pack ourselves a Cristiano Ronaldo. So that is the reason why we have Ronaldo now in this team. And for the second weekend league, we were just trying to fit Ronaldo into the team. So this is kind of what we're running. Now, you guys might see 3 concept players, and for the boys who watch the Road to Glory series, you might be thinking to yourself, wait a second, did you just have those players? We may have bought and sold a couple of things, so you guys will see that as a little sneak peek coming into the Road to Glory right today. But anyway, boys, let's go across, because as you guys know, we can't actually check custom tactics on a concept squad. We have to actually look at an actual squad to see our custom tactics. So this is what we're going to be running, and more recently, I've actually picked up Mbappe. I haven't played a game with him yet, but I played a lot with his loan. 1.42 million coins is a lot of coins on a Road to Glory. But because we have Ronaldo and we've been using Ronaldo, the partner up with him has to be Mbappe. These 2 cards are just insane this year, so that is the reason why I picked them up. We've also picked up a few other cards here and there, and this is the team that we'll be running. But anyway, boys, enough talking around. Let's get straight into what you guys are here for, the custom tactics. And for me personally, on this year, I've been running 2 custom tactics: my defensive and my attacking, my 4-2-3-1 and my 4-2-2. We'll start off with the 4-2-3-1 because I think this is the one that I've kind of gone from FIFA 20 into FIFA 21 with. And the reason why I played this over the 4-2-2, I would have loved to use a 4-2-2 from the start. But the reason why I played with this the majority of the first weekend league is because we have Bobby Firmino, we had Roberto Firmino, and he's not the fastest sort of player. So I wanted to use him. He was a perfect fit for the cam role, and it just worked out very well. Now, how I play this formation and this team, I run 6 width, 6 depth with a balance. I have a lot of the offensive sliders a kind of bit turned down because I don't want them to overcommit. But the idea of this is to have decently high lines so I can still press, but not so crazy commit forward that I'm not left with like anyone on defense. The idea is to play a bit higher up, but in shape, and that is kind of how I like to play my 4-2-3-1. So we run 6 width, we run 6 depth, relatively even on the sliders, with some of the offensive sliders turned down a bit. Now, the way I set this formation up, we have our striker, who would have been Rashford at the time at the striker spot. Our cam was Roberto Firmino. We had Saint and Ousmane Dembele, with Renato. Actually, we had Frankie de Jong and Gini Wijnaldum as our 2 CDMs. And then our backline is the same with Van Dijk in the centre-back position, and I believe Thibaut Courtois in net. And that's how kind of how the team is set up. Now, recommendations for specific positions, what you guys are kind of looking for in specific FIFA cards when you're going to be playing these formations. What I would say is most importantly, you want a very fast card, a break-in behind card, someone like a Rashford, someone like an Aubameyang, someone like a Heung-min Son, someone like an Mbappe or a Ronaldo playing that striker role. I think that's very important. In the wide camps, you want cards that are like pacey on the wings. I don't think someone like a Mahrez is really suited towards a wing unless you chuck a Hunter on him, but he may be someone you might want to chuck central cam because he's got incredible dribbling. But for me, I like my 5-star skills, so I play Ousmane and Saint out there, and they do the job for me. And then at the central cam position, you probably want someone who's very, very good technically on the ball. So for me, that was Roberto Firmino. He had the 5-star weak skill moves, the 4-star weak foot, insane dribbling, insane passing, a decent shot on him as well, and yeah, he absolutely ran that central cam role. But for cards, for example, such as Kevin De Bruyne, such as Bruno Fernandes, that may be a card that you want to chuck in that position. So those are the sort of players that you're kind of looking for in a 4-2-3-1. Even like a Neymar would be absolutely unbelievable in a 4-2-3-1 at central cam. So that's kind of what you're looking for. Now, coming to our DMs, you kind of want, for me personally, as long as they have enough pace to kind of cover across the pitch, you can't really go too wrong. And then with the wingbacks, because of the way this year is, you want pacey wingbacks, and that's kind of the way it is. My recommendations for this year, Ferland Mendy, Semedo, they've been doing the job for me. They've been so good, and absolutely no problems. Now, going forward, we have our instructions as well, and this is where we'll kind of break it down a bit more and show you guys what we're doing with each of the players, my mindset behind some of the instructions I use. And yeah, now the first one is the striker, and I use get in behind and balance width on him. And the reason why I do this is because I don't mind the wide drift of the player, because I do like that ball from St. Max to Mbappe, or Ousmane to Mbappe. At the time, it would have been Rashford. So those balls down the line, you kind of get triggered by getting behind, as also well as a balance width. It allows the striker to kind of drift wide, and also because you have someone in the cam position, they're probably going to be getting into the box as well, just naturally. So you have that partner coming forward, and you don't really need them to stay centrally the entire amount of time. Now, after that, we do have the central cam position, and for me personally, I think you can stay default on everything here. If you really wanted to, you can get into the box with a cross, but I think what's very important here is stay forward. This year is all about the counter. That's how this game is built. It is very, very hard to break people down when they've got players behind the ball, because the AI blocks and the blocking is so good. So what I would recommend is have stay forward onto the central cam. The reason why is you have an outlet pass down the middle, and then you can pass from him to your striker, and you're away on a counter. I think if you have him on come back on defense, you don't really have that support you need on the striker, but having the cam on stay forward alongside the striker, I think is very, very important, and it actually plays really well in your favor. Now, what I would say here, boys, is you can actually have stay forward on these two wide cams as well if you really wanted to, but then it plays more like a 4-3-3-4 or 4-3-3, I believe it's 3 with the two CDMs. So it depends how you want to play this formation. For me personally, I like them to be in like that middle part, so I can pass short to them, but I can also send them on the counter if the gap is there. And yeah, the main custom tactic I put on them is get into the box with a cross, because sometimes they're making that overlapping run down the wing, and you might want to just you might want to lay it off to them, and they're in behind, and they're able to shoot crossbody and score. Also, additionally, sometimes they are running down the wing with the ball, and the opposite cam will get into the box with a cross, so you can whip that ball in back post, and it's a first time shot, and it's a goal. So I personally like getting into the box with a cross. It just means that you have more people attacking the goal, and they don't stay as wide as they need to, as they normally do. So yeah, I do like that across my wide cams. Now, moving over to the DMs, I personally play stay back while attacking and balanced as a combination. You can have stay back while attacking on both of them if you don't like one of your cams CDMs pushing up, but I like having numbers in my opponent's box and in my opponent's final third, so I do like pushing one of my CDMs up there. And the other thing that I think is really, really important is cover center. And the reason why this is, I think the default is cover wide. Cover center make sure that they stay centrally when your opponent has the ball. And why that is important is because you guys know with this here, all it takes realistically is a through ball through the middle and you're kind of in a sticky situation. With the cover center, it means that your players may intercept a lot more. You can also up the interceptions if you really want to like aggressive interceptions and stuff like that. But I find it's kind of fine on normal interceptions. But I do like cover center a lot. And the other reason is because sometimes I like to manually run my wingbacks up the pitch, either be Nelson Semedo or Phil Mendy, or I like to trigger them on runs with L1. And if that happens, if I get hit on the counter, I usually take my center back and go wide with them. And what I want this cover center to do is fill that gap in the central position so that when the player cuts back, I have a player to block off that pass. So that's kind of the reason why I run cover center on my DMs, and it plays really well for my style of play, and I really enjoy it. Now, on the wingbacks, I have stay back while attacking, and this is once again because I make my manual runs going forward. I usually either trigger them or I manually run the player forward myself. So I just want them to be in position, and if I need them to go forward, I'll make sure they go forward by myself. So that's kind of the situation. But that's how the 4-2-3-1 plays. It's very, very similar to FIFA 20. Yeah, I haven't really found too many issues with it. I think it is very important to have that creative central cam. And the only problem you guys might have generally is that you might not have enough attacking options. But overall, it does play well as a custom tactic. Now, moving onwards, boys, we have our second custom tactic, and of course, that is the 4-2-2. This is a custom tactic that I've been using for the second weekend league, the majority of the second weekend league. Sometimes I switch to 4-2-3-1, but for the majority of the weekend league, I have been running 4-2-2. And the reason is because, just because of the personnel change. We got out Roberto Firmino because we packed Ronaldo. So it allows us to play a bit more counter-attacking and a bit more fast. Now, before we get into any of the detail of the custom tactics, I do want to say a massive thank you to the boy Jazz, aka Jazz FIFA. He's a pro player from Adelaide, from the ANZ region, and I'll link his Twitch down in the description below. But basically, he was saying to me, yo, Kyren, you might want to try the 4-2-2. You might want to try pressure on heavy touch. And yeah, they've actually been playing really, really well for me. And I'll explain to you why the press on heavy touch and the 4-2-2 has been doing really well. So we'll get into that right now. But do make sure, go check out my boy. His link is in the description. And he's a top quality FIFA player, like honestly, like one of the best in the region. So make sure you go show him some love and support. But anyway, boys, let's get straight into it. Now, the thing is, right, boys, how many of you guys have been playing a weekend league game, and for some unknown reason, to you at least, you may know it, you may not know it, but for some reason, the team that you're playing up against just has crazy amounts of pressure on you. Like, you're not able to dribble out of the player anymore, and you're not able to create any attack, and they win the ball high up in your defensive third. And the reason why that is because they're either running one of pressure heavy touch, press after possession loss, or the D-pad tactic by pressing down and left on the D-pad, constant pressure. Now, those three custom tactics in general are very, very effective this year because of the left stick dribbling being so poor. You're not really able to dribble out of those specific situations, which means you just need to play fast passes to get out of it. But because the majority of players can't really do that, press on heavy touch actually works incredibly well. And I think I prefer press on heavy touch compared to press after possession loss, because the way that this one works is after you lose the ball, for 7 seconds afterwards, you immediately start to press. For me personally, that doesn't work the best, because sometimes you're nowhere close to where the ball has been lost, and you might not want to press in that situation. Press on heavy touch, however, presses when your opponent takes a heavy touch, or a loose ball, or a long pass, or all that sort of stuff, or has a bit of issue controlling the ball. And when that happens, that's when your players kind of activate and they go for it. So they kind of put that pressure on when your opponent makes a mistake. Now, if you really want that constant pressure sort of situation, you can press down and left on the D-pad in this custom tactic, and you will still get that pressure if you need that pressure back really, really quickly. So that's kind of how it is. But I think this custom tactic, alongside the other two, the down and left on the D-pad, as well as the press after possession loss, those three in total work very, very well this year, just because of how bad dribbling and left stick dribbling and maintaining possession kind of is this year. So that's why I have that on this. Now, going forward as well, I have 5 width and 6 depth. The main reason why I have it a bit more narrow is because I think I like my wide cams to come in a bit more narrower on defense. And the reason for that is normally you have a central cam marking the area, but I think on the wide cams you just don't have that, so you just gotta tuck it in just a tad, and my depth stays on 6. And the other thing I would say, boys, is if you're gonna be playing this, especially on 6 depth, you have to be very switched on defense. If you're not switched on defense, it's going to take a through ball. Because you're on pressure heavy touch, it might jump a little. Your AI may jump forward a bit, and then your opponent is in behind, and they're going to score a goal. So make sure you guys are switched on when you're playing this. But for me, it works very well because I do like to win the ball high up the pitch, and this is what that does. Now, on the offense, once again, I'm playing balanced, and that's because sometimes you just need to hold up the ball. I do like to play fast. I do like to try and pass up the pitch real quick and maybe try and get a counter-attacking goal. But if you can't do that, you don't want your players kind of flooding forward on a fast build-up, because you do want passing options still. So for me personally, I do like balanced. It means that I can switch on a possession sort of style when I need to play possession, and it means that I can fast build up when I need to fast build up, using L1 to trigger runs, and also passing the ball around rather quickly. So that's kind of the situation. Now, the width is 4, and that is once again because I want my players who are wide cams just kind of be a bit more narrow. And then overall, with the players in the box, corners, and free kicks, they're relatively similar to the other one. Just keep it relatively like in the middle. I don't think you need too many players or too little players going forward. But what I will say as well is that if you are one of those people who like to have your CDM kind of fill that center mid role, kind of fill that gap in the 4-2-2, you might want to put players in the box up just by like 1 or 2. Just to get that extra man going forward, and that should help you quite a bit. Now, moving over to the formation, how you have to play this formation is, I personally think, 2 pacey strikers and 2 pacey wingers. I've got Ronaldo, Mbappe, St. Max, and Ousmane. Last weekend, it was Rashford instead of Mbappe. But you guys can tell, the pace is there. Everyone is rapid in this team. And the reason why you want this is because the way this 4-2-2 sets up is when you're on the counter, your wide cams are on the wing backs, your strikers are on the center backs. So you literally have man on man. And if you can do a little L1X, a little 1-2 pass, you're in behind and you're able to exploit. So having the pace is really, really, really important in this formation, and I think Mbappe and Ronaldo do really well with it. It's also really important to have the pace on the wings, and then your DMs, your wing backs, same sort of situation as well. A lot of it is just pace, but I think it is also important to be very good technically and very strong in the defense with the defensive positions. Now, going forward as well, we have our instructions, and I like to play in any 2-striker formation, always. One player has to be on getting behind, the other one for me has to be on false 9 or target man. The reason why this is because it staggers the 2 strikers. It staggers them. So if you're playing across a back 4, you don't want your players to be all like you don't want your strikers to be all like flush with the back line. You want one to be trying to make a run and another one to show. And what that enables you to do is that enables you to combo the play up. It kind of works a bit more like a 4-2-3-1, but the players are still on that back line. So it just basically means that going from the 4-2-3-1 to the 4-2-2, it means that that player gets pushed up into the striker role, and you do have 2 players on, but they stagger a bit, and then you have more options. Now, coming across to the wide cams, and pretty much the custom tactics are exactly the same from here between the 4-2-3-1 and the 4-2-2. For the 4-2-2 on the wide cams, once again, we have get into the box with the cross, and this is just because sometimes you'll have the ball with Ronaldo, you want to lay that ball off to St. Max, who's making a run inside the box, little pass off, crossbody shot, it's a goal. So that's kind of the situation with that. With the CDMs, once again, stay back while attacking on one and balance attack on the other, cover center on both. Once again, we don't need to explain this that much, but it's just you can have one person coming forward and filling that gap in the mid, and then you have one of them as the anchor. And then our back line, once again, I like to trigger my runs, so I have stay back while attacking. But feel free to put balanced attack on this if you don't trigger your runs manually and you want those boys to overlap. But that basically is the entirety of the custom tactics, and Yeah, I feel like they're very, very, very simple. I don't think they're really too complex at all. For me personally, I do like to keep my custom tactics relatively simple and just make sure that my gameplay is on top of everything. I'm not playing anything too outrageous. I think I'm playing relatively meta, but they do work very well for me, and this is why I've been enjoying. And hopefully going forward for the next couple of weeks in FIFA 21, I can try out some new stuff and maybe give you guys an updated custom tactics video of what I'm running going forward. But this has been really, really helpful for me at the start of FIFA 21, using these two custom tactics and playing with them. They have been doing the job. Alrighty boys, so that's going to do it for the custom tactics for today. Hopefully you guys found it informational and hopefully you have a better insight into how I play my weekend league. But yeah, those are the custom tactics that I run. But before we end up the video, I do want to reiterate once again that it is very, very important that you guys make sure you have your FIFA fundamentals down and make sure you're constantly improving those. And then also on top of that, keep an open mind when you're testing out custom tactics. Try out these ones, but also go check out other YouTubers' videos and other people's videos, other top players' videos, and see what custom tactics are they running. Try those out as well. My custom tactics might not work for you guys, but it really comes down to what fits your gameplay style. My gameplay style I feel like is pretty aggressive, so that's why they work for me. Oops. My apologies. But for some other people, it might not work as well. Also, before we wrap up, I do want to say a massive thanks once again to the boy Jazz for kind of letting us know about the 4-2-2 and stuff like that with the press on heavy touch. For me personally, I didn't love 4-2-2 just throughout the entirety of FIFA 20 because I think there's a bit of a gap in between the strikers and the center defensive mids. But when you have the team press on and the press on heavy touch on as well, it kind of closes that gap down. So I think it works really well. And that's, again, a perfect example of just keeping an open mind and listening around for other people's advice within the community. I think at the end of the day, we're all here to help, and we're all trying to help each other become better FIFA players. So that's kind of the whole idea about it. So do make sure you go check out Jazz. His link is down in the description. He's an awesome dude, and he's a top quality FIFA player. One of probably the best in the ANZ region. So make sure you go check out his Twitch, and he'll probably be live streaming sometime during the Weekend League with some of the Weekend League. But anyway, boys, that's going to do it for this video, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to smash a big old thumbs up, hit the subscribe as well, and click the little notification bell to get notified when we go live with another video. Also, on top of that as well, boys, if you do want to see some gameplay live with this team, we're going to be trying out Laporte this weekend as well as Erison. I've already tried out Mbappe, but we're going to be having him in our starting lineup as well as Andre's rule breaker card as well. Make sure you head over to our Twitch stream. The link is once again as well down in the description below, so you guys can go check that out. Hit us up with a follow and you get notified when we go live and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, should be a great time. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate you tuning in today. Much love. Take care. Have a good one. And peace.
Whenever your heart is broken, don't ever forget you're golden. I will find a light in your soul.